Firstly, thank you for this wonderful event. It's great to be here, and I'm looking forward to the luxury of, like many others, of putting some faces to names. I'm Tom Shardlow, so I'm not a politician. I'm the Deputy CEO of Nuneaton and Bedworth, and I've been there since June, so still relatively new to the role. Firstly, apologies from Councillor Chris Wilson, our leader. He would have very much liked to be here today, but he wasn't able to get the time away from his primary employment. But I'm joined today by Councillor Julian Gutteridge, our portfolio holder. The presentation I'll put forward today is probably at contrast with some of the others you'll hear today, but it does reflect Nuneaton and Bedworth's sort of unique position and challenges and broad political position as well. So who are we, where are we, what are we all about kind of thing. So North Warwickshire district, around 130,000 population, and we're strategically linked. We're well placed. We've got good motorway connections, rail connections, a direct line to London. We're sometimes called the Golden Triangle. Primarily urban, so two principal towns, Nuneaton and Bedworth, and then some smaller villages and towns around that as well. And we've had a Conservative administration since May 2021, after a long-standing period of a previous administration. So a new administration coming to the table. And we're pretty good at attracting growth and investment. We've done well on LUF funding and different pots of money coming in, so that's going really well. For us, the focus today is around climate change, but I think we're reflecting on the broader sense of sustainability rather than just climate change. I'll paraphrase because the actual quote is quite a mouthful, but the WCD describes sustainability as using the resources of now to meet the current needs of now in such a way that doesn't undermine future generations' capacity to meet their future needs. So what we do now doesn't undermine the future ability to serve future generations. And there's three interlinked pillars described of sustainability: economic, prosperity, growth, investment; social, education, attainment; health, mobility, equality, wellbeing and crime; and environmental, climate change, natural resource usage, externalities arising from activities, and biodiversity. And I think today I'll talk about so those three dimensions in the context of Nuneaton and Bedworth. So what's it like to live in Nuneaton and Bedworth? Well, the average life expectancy is a bit lower than the rest of the county. Our people tend to live less, and They live less than the Warwickshire average and also the national average. Ethnicity is slightly more diverse than the Warwickshire average, and there's a greater level of deprivation in the district. People earn less money and are more likely to be living in poverty. Education attainment is also comparatively lower than national averages, and it's more likely to experience crime. So some unique challenges there. In terms of work, the GVA is lower than national average. More likely to bear with me a second. More likely to be impacted by the COVID pandemic, earn less money, but we have good levels of employment, but a lower gross value added per head. That said, we are attracting good business growth, and we're a good space for business growth. In summary, the Nuneaton and Bedworth residents are more likely to be raised in poverty. They're less likely to reach higher levels of educational attainment, more likely to earn less in their lifetimes, more likely to need their council to support them, more likely to experience worse health, and ultimately may live shorter lives than the Warwickshire and national averages. So a bit of an inequality picture there compared to the national averages and the rest of the county. In the context of climate change, it is a recognised challenge, but in some ways it's outshadowed by some of the inequality in the districts. We as an organisation, like many others, have limited financial resources. And we think our biggest capacity is to influence sustainability in the economic and social dimensions around improving residents' lives. Our residents do care about the cost of living, loss of green space, fuel poverty, transportation and decent homes. And some of the points raised earlier about the Ukrainian crisis are driving some of those points home increasingly faster and stronger. We're looking for opportunities that are cost neutral or beneficial through grant funding or partnership working, And we're committed to working on a sustainability strategy for our organisation and our district, but addressing those three dimensions of inequality. Our opportunity, so we're continuing to focus on inequalities. We think we've got a good voice and we think we've got a good opportunity to influence through planning, influencing new development, of which the district is attracting a lot, and the use of supplementary planning documents to increase things like biodiversity or sustainability of developments. Levelling up our district, some of the points I raised earlier, locally and nationally, and our new corporate plan, Building a Better Borough, seeks to do that. New development, and where they are presented, what opportunities do they bring to be greener, to be more sustainable? So new leisure centres, town centre transformation, LUF funding, the MRF, etc., etc. How can we, as those opportunities and choices are presented, how can we make the best choice at that potential time? Deliver a biodiversity strategy in the context of our land holdings, so looking at biodiversity in the context of the land and space that we have as a district, and where we can look to do things like native planting, wildflower areas, and that sort of thing. Use our geography, which is well placed, as I mentioned previously, to host new green industries. We think we've got an opportunity there to attract business growth, particularly on the green front, with that golden triangle and all the connections that we've got. And we're committed to working with partners to secure funding and provide space for new initiatives coming forward. In terms of our next steps, a new corporate plan will go to our council in April 2022, and within that is a priority around sponsoring a sustainable and green approach. There's a bit of text there around that. So definitely we are committed on that front. We'll continue to support our residents in levelling up and across those three dimensions of sustainability, economic, social and environmental. We will establish a sustainability strategy by the end of 2022, and we'll continue to seek opportunities for partnership work and deliver against those three dimensions. And as opportunities present and as we do deliver new developments and those decisions come forward, we will look at those at that point within the financial limits we have to make them as green and sustainable as possible. Thank you.